Good morning. Today we have a very interesting show. I have Jessica Danyow. She's the Executive Director of Homeward Bound, Addison County Humane Society. And she has a friend with her. Would you like to see the friend? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the doggie?
I have Katie with me today. Katie is a 12-week-old female puppy. She's a mixed breed puppy, some hound, some shepherd, some lab. And Katie was brought up with a number of other animals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Katie
Yeah.
was brought up with other animals from a transport that came up from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And she is available for
And
adoption.
they transferred her all the way from Kentucky?
They did. There's lots of groups that work collaboratively to pull animals out of high volume shelters in southern states and then transport them up to New England shelters where we have, fortunately, less of a problem with overpopulation, and then we adopt them out up here. So it's a nice way to find homes for homeless animals and give pets to families that want them.
How old is she?
Katie is 12 weeks old.
12 weeks old.
She
and
is.
she's traveled all the way up.
She has, and she only arrived at Homeward Bound on Friday night, so she's had a big weekend. And here she is on TV already.
Does she? You're on TV. And do you put her in a cage that's large or big or
She
small?
shares a kennel with her 4 siblings.
Oh.
We got 5 puppies all together, and she's sharing a kennel with all of them.
So that helps her keep like some relationship to
Yes,
something.
company and socialization and
Yeah.
playtime and nap time. And
Yeah.
of course, she's getting lots of attention from our staff and volunteers, as you can imagine.
Yeah. And they all look like that?
Actually, no. It's funny. It's a great question. She is the only brown one. Everyone else in the litter is black.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's special in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, you serve a lot of animals. I mean, these plus others. How many do you serve?
We do. On average, we take in between 700 and 750 animals a year. And we take those animals in either as they come to us as strays that have been found in the county, or they come to us by people who need to surrender them for one reason or another. Or, like Katie, they come to us by means of a transport from a high-volume shelter that just doesn't have the space and resources to be able to handle all the animals that come into it.
Yeah, getting 5 new babies at one shot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
It sure is. Yeah.
You take the animals from here as well as from out of
We
state.
do, yes. We primarily serve Addison County. We are Addison County's Humane Society, but we're also fortunate enough to work in a community that is so responsive to the needs of homeless animals that we're able to extend our reach a little bit beyond the boundaries of the county. Some animals we took in earlier this month came from northern Vermont, where they don't have a brick and mortar shelter facility, and they were kind of overwhelmed by cats, so we received cats and kittens from them. But our first area of service is always Addison County, and then we help beyond then when we can.
Do you get overwhelmed with cats?
We do get, I won't say overwhelmed, we get full, and usually in the spring and summer months when the cats' reproductive cycles kick in and kittens are born, typically between March and October. But, who can have enough of kittens, really?
Yeah, because I was over to your place walking around, and the cats were upstairs. They were free around.
Yes, we have some community cat rooms is what we call them, and they allow cats just to live a much better quality of life while they're here at the shelter with us. We have 3 of them. And then we do have, as you probably also saw, the individual cages that are used for those cats who might have a special health need or just not be temperamentally suited to living with a bunch of other cats.
Yeah. And you train them to go to the
litter box.
Litter box.
Yes, we do absolutely have them litter box trained.
They do that easily, don't they?
They do, yeah. I think typically their mother cats will do most of that training for a kitten.
My son has a cat, and he trained
She's
her.
fallen asleep in my lap.
Had trained him to go to the bathroom on the toilet.
I have heard of that. I have heard of that. Yes, that would be efficient, wouldn't it?
Well, not everything, just the pee, just the pee she does there. And so you have dogs and you have cats, and do you have other animals?
We do. I like to sort of joke that we take in anything with fur or feathers. So we have, cats are our primary animal. About 75% of the animals that we help each year are cats. But we also take in dogs, and we take in birds and guinea pigs, rats, mice, rabbits.
Mice?
Yes. We're actually expecting some mice this week, in fact. So the only kinds of animals that we as a registered Humane Society are not allowed to take are exotic animals or wildlife. We don't have the state permission for those two types of species.
No, they don't want the wild animals, certain species to be taken. Anywhere, from anywhere.
Right, they shouldn't be taken, period. If someone does call us having found a wild animal, we will usually refer them to a wildlife rehabilitator. We had a neat experience earlier, or I guess it was last year now. Someone called. They had found an opossum that was had been hit by a car and was on the side of the road, but was only injured. So we transported that opossum to a wildlife rehabilitator here in Addison County. And then we learned about 6 weeks later that she had given birth. And the rehabilitator sent us pictures of the possum and her babies. So that was a great story. You know, it's great to be part of a network of people that are helping.
Yeah. That is a possum.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes into that place and they want a dog, what kinds of questions do you ask, or what kinds of things do you tell about the dog, or do you want for the home?
Home for the dog. That's a great question, and that's at the sort of the heart of what we do at the shelter, which is try to make matches and help them to be successful matches. We no longer prejudge people, as in, do you have a fenced yard? Do you have X or do you have Y? We talk to the person about what they're looking for in a pet, what their expectations are for a new family member. Are they a laid-back family who spends most of their time inside reading and relaxing, in which case they probably want a laid-back animal, maybe a senior pet? Or are they an active family, maybe lots of kids, lots of activities? And then in that case, maybe they are ready for a puppy or a young, high-energy dog. But I think our most important role is to find out where the gaps are between what a person knows about being a good pet owner and what they need to know, and then supply them with the information to fill those gaps.
Do you teach to talk about how to train them, like, so they don't go to the bathroom all over the house?
We do. Like this puppy, Katie, and her brothers, when they go home, an extensive part of their adoption counseling will be about house training and the best way to do it, the easiest way to do it, and what to do if you have setbacks and things like that. So.
Yeah. You have setbacks.
Of course. Everybody has setbacks.
And you're going along so fine, all of a sudden.
Oh, of course. That's life, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So, well, she's fallen. Is it a she?
It is a she, and I can feel her head getting heavy on my arms.
Well, she was a little nervous when she came into
Maybe. Now she's just recovering.
But she feels comfortable.
She seems to. And she's nice and cozy in my lap, too.
Yeah. So it's fun to hold her.
What's that? It is fun, yes. I'll pass her off to you in a little bit.
So, how do you find people who would like an animal? I mean, do they just walk in? Or?
Sometimes people just walk in, but we also are fortunate enough to have a partnership with the Addison Independent, and every week they run pictures of 6 of our animals who are available. So that keeps us out in front of people. We also have a Pet of the Week on WVTK here in town. And then our website and our Facebook page are big channels for us to let people know what particular animals we have for adoption at any given time.
Do they know if they've been abused? I mean, if you get an animal that's been abused, they're different.
They are different, yes.
And do people know you?
If we take an animal in that we have a verified history of some sort of neglect or abuse, we certainly do communicate that to whoever adopts the animal, because there will be some things they have to be aware of. The dog or the cat may have some triggers for fear that the person needs to be aware of. For example, one of our dogs for adoption right now, Max, is a very, very sweet dog, really just an overgrown puppy. But he's quite frightened of men. And so we have to go very slowly, and the men that he meets have to kind of be pre-warned, and we have to communicate to them that, Max is afraid of men, and you need to go extra slowly and extra gently.
because he's been beaten by it.
Well, I don't know. I never like to speculate, but
Yeah.
he came with a fear of men, and whether
Yeah.
that was just, a raised voice as a puppy or what the case might be. Yeah.
You found that out.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, if a situation rises to the level of, as you say, physical abuse, then we would treat it as a cruelty investigation, and we would pursue making a case that the owner had violated state laws, and we would bring law enforcement in, and we would take that very seriously on a different level than adopting an animal who might be a little behaviorally shy or timid.
Well, what happens when you have 3 or 4 dogs and cats in the same house, and they're all been?
Well, that would probably.
Does that happen? Not often.
Not often. I think that would definitely be a case which we would consider a cruelty investigation. And if those animals were taken from that home through an action of law enforcement, we would probably have them in a foster care situation for quite a while until they had regained confidence and trust in people before we put them up for adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do you do cows or horses or
Yep.
whatever?
Our cruelty investigation program isn't limited to just dogs and cats. In fact, dogs are our most common complaint, but then horses are the second most common complaint.
Oh, really?
They are, yeah. Vermont has a little bit of a epidemic is a bit of a strong word, but it's a crisis of too many horses, unwanted horses or horses that people can't afford to care for. And so often well-meaning horse owners are not providing what that horse needs in terms of food or veterinary care or farrier care. And so we get a lot of complaints about horses that are seen as people drive, pastured, and it's definitely a problem. Their horses take a tremendous amount of resources and knowledge to care for properly, and I think people don't necessarily always have that.
And they're quite smart.
Yes, yes.
And they know things, that you wouldn't anticipate.
And very good
sometimes.
memories they have,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, yeah. What is there any other thing that you do in the?
In order to get the animals ready for adoption before they can meet their prospective families, we make sure that every animal has been checked by a veterinarian. We are very fortunate to have veterinarians in the county volunteer their time to do that. We make sure that every animal is spayed and neutered and vaccinated against rabies and other common diseases. And we give them a microchip for permanent identification. Yeah, this little girl is carrying a microchip right now, and
on the ear, or
the microchip goes right under her skin, right there between her shoulder blades, and it's a tiny chip the size of a grain of rice with a number embedded in it. And the microchip scanner, an electromagnetic scanner, will pick up that number, and then that number is associated with her owner's name and phone number. So, it's an unfailable form of identification. Collars can break, collars can come off, but this certainly can't. So that is something we do for every animal. And I also, if I may, the question often comes up, how do we pay for all of this? How do we do this for all of these animals? And I always want to let people know that we do it through the support of this community and the donations and contributions that come in from this community and beyond. We don't receive any state funding or any federal funding, and nor do we get any income from national humane organizations. So our animals are cared for exclusively through fundraising that we do. We have one major event every year called Woofstock, Walk for the Animals.
Woofstock.
That's
WOO.
Yes, you got it. Yes.
Not WOLF.
Nope. Right. Nope.
Something else.
And that's always in September. And then we're fundraising throughout the year, as you can imagine. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that brings it all in enough.
It does. I mean, we
just about.
It covers it. We're not getting rich, but that's not the point either.
No.
Yeah. We want to cover their expenses. We want to make sure that we have enough to address the needs that they have when they come through the door. And then anything else we do, we apply to proactive programming, such as humane education, other things like that.
Do you charge
Yeah.
something for for?
We do. We have an adoption donation fee structure, and it's quite reasonable compared to the cost of what's gone into preparing an animal for adoption. Any given animal's adoption fee does not cover their own particular costs, but it's merely a contribution then to our overall budget.
Because you have to feed them and care for them, and that you're told vaccinations and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So she's got a chip in you.
Yes,
You're
she
got
does.
a chip in you.
Doesn't seem to bother her though. Did you bother you, that chip, or are you just having a nice nap? You are very sweet. You are very sweet.
Now, do you offer programs to the people?
We do. We
to-
do. And thank you for asking that. Obviously our first role in the community is to find homes for animals that need them. But a very close second is the role that we try to play in preserving the bond between owners and their pets so that they don't need to relinquish them or surrender them. And we have a few programs that are geared right toward that. One of them is called Pets in Crisis. And Pets in Crisis is a short-term foster program that we offer for people who have run into housing challenges of one kind or another. Maybe it's a domestic violence situation that they're fleeing and they need a safe place for their pet while they get themselves out of the situation and into a better one. Maybe it's a situation where there's been a house fire and they need a place for their pet because the motel that they're staying at doesn't welcome pets. So we offer that place free of charge.
What do you mean foster pet? What is that?
Foster.
I mean, I know what the term usually
Yes.
means, but in particular.
In this context, it simply means that we would provide free boarding and care, food and care and boarding to their animal for a period, usually of about 2 weeks, but a flexible period depending on need and resources. So that enables a person to make sounder decisions knowing that their pet is safe and cared for, and when they're back on their feet, they can come and get their pet. And it eliminates them having to potentially say, I have to give up my pet because I don't have a place to live right now. Another program that we run, which is also designed to help pet owners, is called Pets Eat Too. And,
What?
It's called Pets Eat Too. And that is a program where we partner with the Champlain Valley's Agency on Aging, and we work to provide the pet food for senior citizens who are receiving Meals on Wheels.
Pet food for
their pets.
For their pets.
Yes. So we coordinate the deliveries and everything. So when the senior humans get their Meals on Wheels delivered, that driver is also delivering whatever dog or cat food that person needs for the coming week or 2 week period. And that just helps, nobody wants to give up a pet. And I think in particular, so many senior citizens are living alone and they need that companionship.
Oh,
And those are their
yes.
best
Oh, yes.
friends. And so we want to support them keeping their best friends.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that's very important. Now, when you have foster care or other kinds of care, do you have people come and walk the dogs?
We do, yep. Foster care is, foster care is one of the volunteer opportunities we have for people. Typically, people will be foster parents for kittens that we have in the shelter that might be too young to go up for adoption, or puppies, for example, if they were too young. But we also have a lot of in-shelter opportunities for just regular dog walkers and for people who come and give one-on-one TLC to the cats that we have, keeping them social and happy and getting attention every day. And then we have volunteer opportunities that are outside of the shelter, people who will help put on our big fundraising event, Woofstock, and people who will help us with some of our community relations work.
So that somebody off the street could come in and say, can I walk a dog? I'd like to walk a dog.
Sure. We have, the program is a little more formal than that. We have an open enrollment period for our volunteers, and we hold an orientation once a month, and everyone who's filled out an application during that time frame comes in. In January, we had 17 new people join us. And everyone gets an orientation to the shelter, a tour of the shelter, and then some hands-on training about walking the dogs. Practical things. How do I put the harness on? Where do I find the poop bags? Things like that.
Yeah.
And then they're ready to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the dogs like that.
The dogs love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you also have a big pen out there, don't you?
We do. We have outdoor play yards for the dogs. And they go, depending on the weather, they rotate through those all day so they can get fresh air and just hang out in the yard. But that's not the same as the exercise that they might get, walking with somebody, or the companionship, because they're usually in the play yards by themselves.
So some people come back day after day.
Yes.
Or week after week or something.
Yeah, or day after day. We have volunteers who are there every single day.
The same person. Walking a dog.
Yep, walking a dog. They know how much help we need, and we have one gentleman who's there at 7:30 every morning, and he helps get them all out. It's terrific.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like fun, because I live in a place where there's not much place for the dogs to run or walk or anything.
Well, you should consider stopping by and filling out an application. You may not have a lot of spare time, but you would be more than welcome.
Well, maybe sometime I can. What's happening here? He seems to be disappearing.
She's
below
so sound
table.
asleep that she's slipping down. She's got her head between her paws, and I think I'm the only thing holding her up right now. She must feel really safe with us talking here.
Yeah, she does. Now, your cat population are you able to? Is it large, and are you able to get them into homes?
We are able to get them into homes. On average, our cat population is between 60 and 70 cats at any given day. And in the summer months, that peaks, to getting closer to 100. But we do get them into homes, and one of the ways we do that is by periodically running adoption promotion specials. We are planning one for February called Find Your Perfect Match. And we will run a slight discount on the traditional adoption fee, and that'll help find more homes for cats. Around the holiday period, as a spoof on Black Friday, we had Black Cat Appreciation Days. So we have fun with it too. It's kind of fun, and that just people are engaged. They come to the shelter, and then the animals really adopt themselves out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're also fortunate to live in a state where the different animal welfare groups and shelters will collaborate with each other. And if one shelter is overfull, you can always call another shelter, and they might help. Or similarly, if another shelter's overfull and they call us, we would help. So, yeah. We're all just trying to do the same work.
Yeah. How many shelters are there in Vermont?
Registered shelters in the state of Vermont, I think there are 4 or 5. But someone just asked me that, and I need to confirm that. There are lots of very small rescues, sort of one person operations. But brick and mortar shelters that are registered with the state of Vermont, I think it's about 4 or 5.
You mean some people just take a dog here and a dog there, or a cat here or a cat there or something? Yeah,
there is, everyone's heart is in the right place, but there is a lot of unregulated rescue going on. So it's something where, the old phrase, buyer beware, should be translated to adopter beware, because you want to make sure that, you're informed about the animal that you're adopting, regardless of where it comes from. Now,
if your pet is lost, they run away, and I see this on Facebook.
Yes.
My cat is gone. It's brown. It's this color.
Yes.
And do you see it? And sometimes it comes back through that way. But what do you do?
What we recommend, we take. Well, if you lose your pet, we recommend you do a couple things right away. One of which is use Facebook. There's a terrific page called Lost and Found Animals of Vermont, and that's like a huge bulletin board of lost and found animals. Front Porch Forum has been incredibly effective in reuniting lost pets, found pets. We maintain logs, written reports of lost or found animals, and we also, when stray animals come into our shelter, we'll look at those logs and we'll try to make a match and compare things. But the number one thing people can do is make sure there's identification on their pet, a microchip like we've talked about,
How do you know that the microchip? I mean,
Well, that's a great question. You don't know from looking at the animal, but fortunately it's becoming common enough practice that any animal shelter or veterinarian's office, which is commonly where stray animals end up, they will have a scanner, and by default practice they will scan for the chip. But a good old-fashioned collar with an ID tag with the owner's name and phone number on it as well is also effective. I recommend both, actually.
we had one on our dog. And we were away, and somebody was taking care of. The dog pulled out of the collar and took off.
Well, that's
and never came back.
Yeah, that's exactly why microchips are as effective as they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wish we had one back
Yeah,
then.
I know. I don't.
We looked everywhere.
Yeah.
She called all the animal
that's
hospitals and
heartbreaking.
the Humane Society. She called the newspaper and everything. But we never found her, and we came back from vacation.
Yeah,
we just,
sorry, that's.
So
sad
it was
story.
hard. But
Yeah.
she had tried everything.
Yeah,
She really
well,
had
mistakes
tried everything.
happen. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not. You were talking about the collar, and the other. We put a collar on the cat, and she didn't come back for 2 days. When she came back, she had the paw in the collar, and she was walking on 3 feet.
And that's a reason why for cats microchips
I didn't do it again.
Yeah, even better, because cats are a little bit more wily. And also I sometimes fear with cats who are allowed outdoors, if they were climbing a tree or something or going under a fence line, they could get that collar snagged on something. So the microchip is really effective for the cat because it's not going to get in the way of their natural playing and predating.
How long has this been an opportunity?
Oh, at least for the last 5 to 10 years. I think it's been in practice.
Okay, so it's just something new.
It's relatively new, yes.
Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes left. So is there something in particular you would like the public to know that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Just for the basics, in case you're interested. Hi, Katie. No, go see Peggy. For anyone who wants to visit Katie, her siblings, or any of the animals that we have available at Homeward Bound, we are open 12 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday. And our phone number is 388-1100 for anybody who wants to call.
Say that again.
Our phone number is 388-1100 for anybody who wants to call the shelter. And we're open 12 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, for anybody who wants to come down and visit the animals that we have for adoption. We welcome visitors. You don't have to come down, just if you want to adopt. The animals are always grateful for attention, and we're always grateful to show people around our facility and to explain more about our work.
Well, you are so cute. I mean, you are so cute. What kind of dog is she? How big will she get?
It's hard to say how big she'll get. You can look at the size of her paws, and you can see that she's going to be probably a 40 to 50 pound dog. If she's part Labrador, part Shepherd, part Hound dog. I don't think she'll be a lap dog much longer, but she won't be huge either.
Oh, you mean she'll be like a black lab or something?
I think maybe there's some lab in her, maybe a little hound dog, a little German Shepherd. It's really hard to say.
You're going to make sure you know who I am, aren't you?
Yeah.
Huh? You're going to sure you know who I am. Yeah, wow, you're so cute. Anybody want to adopt him? It's a cute dog, and she has 2 brothers and sisters. You could come. Yes, look at that. All right, that's a. So you talked about the seniors and so forth. And
our senior to senior program is another favorite of ours because we believe so much in the value of pets and people. We have no fees for adoptions of senior animals by senior citizens.
All right, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me and Katie. We've both enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah, maybe we'll advertise. You want this dog?
We've both enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching. She's going to watch you.